Well, before we hop into today's questions, I did have a note that right at the end of our live stream last week, Jamie pointed out that we had forgotten a question that he'd asked earlier in the stream. So I thought we could touch on that really quick. And the question was, have you looked much into driver management with Intune only using Microsoft's process? I think that's referring to the driver and firmware management in Intune. And I think
Yep.
you have, Johan.
That is correct. Let me. It's a fairly straightforward process to configure and set up. There is some telemetry you need to configure to make sure that devices get onboarded and being part of a deployment service audience and all that good stuff. But that's no different than many of the other solutions that are out there that is leveraging that platform. But the way I like to go and set it up is to have a bit more policies than technically is required. But the way I have it set it up here, and what can go wrong in a live demo? Yeah, I could log on with the wrong user to my tenant. That's what could happen. That's what it looks like when you don't have permissions to a tenant and try to check up on your devices. If you're curious, yes, I will approve. All right, let's try again. This time as a user that actually has permission. And that could be helpful. All right, so updates. In the driver updates node, we have showcased this many times, but I prefer to create groups based on models. So I create each one policy for updates and driver updates, firmware and drivers for each model that I have. So if I go to this 3120 policy and check its properties here, you can see that this policy is assigned to that group that is named the latitude 3120. And if I go to that group, I'm using a dynamic membership. Basically, the machines that gets added to this group are only machines of that model. You can have a pilot and production group also if you want to get really granular, if you want to test drivers first. But this makes sure, this combination of doing it, making sure that if I go back to the updates again, the updates that are showing for that policy is only going to be drivers and firmware that is for that model. So updates on Microsoft Update, they don't show model information, but Microsoft put in identifiers to make sure that it only lists drivers that are recommended for that particular hardware. If you don't like to create this manually, I mean, in this case, no deal. I have like seven models here, but you can script this. And we showcased from Sasan, who did a blog on Jörgen Nilsson's blog, either last year or late 2023. Let's see if I can find that post. Might have to throw in a driver search instead. There we go, 2023, July. Publish a script to generate these policies based on a model, etc. So quite elegant solution. I will share this link among the others, but easy to set up. The documentation is pretty straightforward. Has opportunity for growth, as we say it, but it's a start. This is way better than it was before, on or off for everything. Like, okay, that's not much of a control plane, is it?
Pretty low hurdle to cover, but here we are.
Yeah. So no. All
All
right.
right. Jamie did have a follow-up question here. Did you use modern driver management with Intune to import the driver packages instead? You think it would be a combination of both, or would you just use the Microsoft process?
I have not played around with the latest version 8 and see what capabilities it have for drivers for Intune. What I have been using drivers for, or driver packages in Intune for, has been for in-place upgrades or feature upgrades. So when you guys use feature updates, and we covered this a few times also, if you need to provide drivers for devices that are part of these groups, they have more or less to be deployed as applications. So basically, copy them down to the devices based on a model again. So you have a model group, and you assign the application that copies down the drivers locally, and then you leverage a remediation script that not that one, but this one here we showcased a few times. That generates a setup config file that, where did it go? Here. That tells it where the drivers are. So obviously the application wrapper have to copy the drivers to that folder. But this is how you tell setup where to use it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.